Hello and welcome to another That Random Model. Today's episode will focus on Star Trek. And if you're familiar with Star Trek, you might know the Klingons. And Klingons have a proverb that says, "Revenge is a dish best served cold." And it is very cold in space. That's right, today's model is the USS Reliant from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Famously commandeered by Khan himself. Khan actually dates back to a earlier episode from the original series called Space Seed, in which he is an escaped augmented human that has been genetically altered to be a superhuman person. It definitely had roots from Nazi experiments and the like, and supposedly it was during what was called the Eugenics wars that took place in Earth history in 1996. Now, we're not aware of that happening, but there is speculation that it could have been something that wasn't very known at the time, and that only the world leaders knew of the augments or their plans of world domination. That remains to be seen. So, looking at the parts in the kit, we have pieces of the warp nacelles, impulse engines, the photon torpedo launchers, some nice clear bits you can spray from the back, either tint or light. Nice display base. And this is the Reliant herself. The Reliant design is actually based off of the Constitution class, just like the Enterprise herself. But the filmmakers wanted to have something that was visually clearly distinctive from the Enterprise. They didn't want two vehicles looking too close to each other because it might have been too confusing to see for most casual viewers. And of course, this isn't just a cult franchise. This is something that they wanted to be accessible to everybody. So hence we have something that's very similar in design form like the Enterprise, but also something clearly distinct with your command levels and such. This is actually considered an Escort class vehicle in later iterations of Star Trek, like The Next Generation and DS9. At the time, it was considered a science research vessel because, Starfleet is not a militaristic arm of Starfleet. Whatever. Let's look at some of these pieces. And during the movie, the Reliant is a Federation ship that is commandeered by Khan Noonien Singh and his crew that had been abandoned on Ceti Alpha 5 during the events of Space Seed. Here are your warp nacelles with your parts for your clear pieces. Underside of the ship, this is your bridge. And then your specialized science bits. During that time, Khan escapes his prison on Ceti Alpha 5 through a clerical error. Someone forgot to put a paperclip on the wrong form, and so he gets to escape. Very exciting stuff in Star Trek, I know, and he comes after Kirk. Here is your upper module piece, like a spoiler almost on a car. Looks very, very race inspired. Spoiler alert. And of course your manual instructions. Not exactly a manual if it's only the cover. It's more like a brochure instruction booklet. Oh, look at this little crest of the United Federation of Planets behind it. That's pretty good. That Random Model gives it 1 thumb up. Classy, 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 classy. It looks like it goes together pretty good. Polar Lights has a very good reputation for not only good subjects, but good builds. You will see these a lot if you Google them online, or if you are able to get to a model show and see people who have made these. They usually do a pretty good job of it. Sometimes they're lit, not the model makers, but the kits themselves. Here are your decal sheets, including battle damage. How exciting is that? Of course, your markings for the ship. This is for the side of the saucer sections. This is on top. Looking at the ship, at the decal sheet, it only gives you the option to make it as a Reliant, which we all know in the movie. Spoiler alert! That the Reliant gets destroyed at the end of the movie, and all the augments are killed, including Khan. He's killed quoting Moby Dick, because that's exactly what my last words on Earth would want to be, as Herman Melville. So now that we've got this out of the way, that is a lot of water sliding. It certainly is. So now that we've got all that out of the way, a very simple kit, but very nice. This is a 1/1000th scale. Polar Lights has been really good about not only making pretty decent quality kits lately, but all in the same scale. So a lot of these boxes that you get either at a Walmart or Ollie's or Target, wherever fine model kits are sold, you'll see these kits with this box with a part of the cast on the cover, and these will all be 1/1000th scale unless otherwise notice. It's pretty nice, and you can see the battle damage decals included. It shows these right there. One other thing I wanted to talk about is the famous scene where Khan tells Kirk that first off, he tries to assassinate him, but he tells Kirk that he's going to leave him there on the planet, and he's just gonna leave him there like Kirk did to Khan all those years ago. True revenge and all, and Kirk famously yells "Khan" in one of the most hammed up performances of any career's life. That's including William Shatner. He's quite a bit of a cured ham that himself. But I'm going to tell you that not only is that a mocked and underrated scene, but it's also pure genius. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the film to go with me. I might do a breakdown of. I'm gonna leave this in the background for some visual candy. I might do an actual 10-minute video or so essay to explain my reasonings on this. But when Kirk yells "Khan," just screams it out in agony. Minutes before that, literally minutes before that, not just on screen, but literally minutes before that, in a coded message, Spock had told him on an open channel that although the Enterprise has sustained damage, that they were reassured to get power back in. Their repairs would be back online in 6 days, and they'd be able to have other operations done in 2 days. Now, this was coded because they were on an open frequency. They weren't sure who was listening. This guy was listening. They weren't sure who was listening, and they wanted to make sure it was coded. So they actually gave away the code in the thing, which was done purely for the audience. But 6 days and 2 days was code for 6 hours and 2 hours. So Kirk knew within minutes before the scene that he was okay. There was nothing that Khan was going to do to him that they couldn't get out of. He always famously turns a chance of death into a fighting chance of life. So Kirk knew that he was in no real danger. He didn't think at one point that he was going to be in any real danger. But he had also gone through a very emotional, tense scene. He was assassination attempted by another captain of the ship that was mind controlled by by Khan, in which the captain kills himself in the attempt. And so Kirk is a little emotional in the scene. He's a little stressed and everything, but he's in control the whole time. So when he does that scream, he's communicating to him, "You've got me." But the character of Kirk doesn't believe that one bit. He knows that he's okay. So I don't know if it was a genius on Shatner's part. I'm going to say, for the sake of argument, it's not. I'm going to say that this is Captain Kirk, the character, being one of the best actors of all history, and Captain Kirk isn't famous for being an actor. So him screaming, "Khan!" It's great ham cinematography, but it was to make him believe, to make Khan believe that he had gotten him, that he was on the losing end of the stick, and that Kirk was at Khan's mercy. And that's why that scene is pure genius. It's Kirk being in control of the situation, like he's explained as being before, but it's him being a good actor and trying to sell it to Khan that, yes, you've got me, you defeated me, and this is a bad situation. But if you've seen the movie, you know that Kirk famously gets out of it again. Khan dies, yada, yada, yada. The Reliant is destroyed. Personally, I think this is a beautiful design. It's a very simple, very kind of low slung, almost like a muscle car. I mean, it kind of conveys quite a few different things on here, but boy, this is a really fun bit of a design, and it's the first time on screen that you're seeing different Starfleet designs exercised in other ways, different variants of very similar pieces, the saucer sections, the nacelles. And this is what led to the evolution of not only the Enterprise itself, but other Starfleet vessels. The Reliant is seen many times in Next Generation, DS9. I believe it makes appearance in one or two of the Next Generation movies. But we will go ahead and end that with that quick little discussion. I'm going to look over at the chat real quick. Thank you all for coming. So yeah, we really appreciate everybody who's live with us. We appreciate everybody that comes that sees this later on. We really hope you enjoy it. I just got a question. And this is one reason why I do these live chats, even though only a couple people show up sometime. But I just got a question, a very important question is, we're going to look through this real quick. Does the ship come with a 1/1000th version of Khan? And I'm going to say, he's right there. Can't see it. He's right there. He's on the bridge. You can turn it over, and it's hard to see him. It's hard to see him. You'd have to zoom in on this one. But I'm going to tell you, you could paint him in there, and no one but you would know the difference. You can paint a little crew that for him, or you could get like a little locket picture of Khan and his crew of augments sitting on the bridge, and just tuck it right under there. You'd know it's there, and if anybody asks, you've got the Reliant, and it's helmed by Khan and his crew. With that, thank you very much. Y'all have been great, and have a very good day.